devotees in the past applying Varnashram have failed. Because they don't take it as relationship. They take it as economics, management, control, something, but not relationship. Not people relating to other people. That's all it is. People need money, they need a social form, they need money, they need justice, they need economics, and they need their sense gratification. They need to be freed from here, know that they're going somewhere, and ultimately they need to become devotees. So Varnashram will fulfill all those if you understand it according to the Bhagavatam. Right? And the Chaturshloki gives the key how it's operated. Right? How to see everything in connection with Krishna. Then if you look at the form, it has meaning, right? Because as we know from Gita, is the form we have comes from our mind. From the gross comes from the subtle. Right? So if you have the right character, then the form of it naturally is there. But more important of the form and the character is the character. Right? Brahmins, Kshatriyas work by qualities. Right? Vaishyas have certain occupations, Shudras have certain occupations. Good or bad qualities, they can still do that. They can be a great artist and be the worst person in the world. Right? In fact, much of the time it is. Your top artists sometimes are really terrible people, but they're really great in their art. But no one bothers with that. As long as they get the art done, who cares? The Brahmin Kshatriyas is qualities. That's what makes them. They're the ones that can understand Varnashram. They're the ones that can establish it. Right? Vaishyas can understand it, but they need the protection of the administration, the guidance of the Brahmins to be able to do it. Right? Because they're not independent. Brahmins and Kshatriyas are. Does that make some sense? So, therefore then, trying to establish that culture, that that understanding of what is the Brahminical lifestyle. How you think, right? Arjuna asks, right? Once he understands there's something else, then the first thing is, how does this person walk, talk, speak, sit, right? Simple things like that. But that's the whole point. Right? Varnashram is a value system, something that you live. So that comes by practice. So you live in an environment where you constantly practice that, then it becomes your lifestyle. Then you can do anything. Right? If you can deal with a small amount of material energy, you can deal with a big amount. It doesn't matter. But until you know how to deal with material energy, how to deal with the soul, how to deal with God, you don't know how to deal with anything. Even if you have your nice little piece of paper. Right? You know what I'm saying? We have hundreds of devotees living here. Here, any community around the world. And basically most all of them have a Western education. And many of them have degrees. And how many of them live by that degrees, and how many of them sell stickers? You know what I'm saying? So the whole point is the lifestyle that is generated from the study of the Vedic culture, that will make you successful anywhere and in anything. And anybody who actually knows even the modern success books will understand that. Because what we speak is exactly the same as they speak. But ours is in connection with God, and theirs is not. Is that okay? Did that give an okay introduction then? Right? Some may say that's very theoretical, but let's talk. I say whoever says it's theoretical themselves are not practical people. Or they're very practical, but they don't really care if it's connected to Shastra or not. They're either very practical people or bureaucrats. Because the point is relationship is the reality in every living entity's life. Your relationships go right, your life goes right. Your relationships go wrong, your life goes wrong. Your family falls apart, Your temple falls apart, people don't like you, don't appreciate you, you can't get through, your life is messed up. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what else you have. So the bottom line is relationship. So the very bottom line is your relationship with God. But since we generally move with everybody else but God, then your relationship with everybody else in connection with God will get us there. So that's the most important. So Vedic is the most misunderstood by the modernists. Yes?
We are brought up in this modernistic culture, and we're trying to embrace this Vedic culture, but we're often, we don't have much knowledge of it. So we seem to be in a vacuum that we want to reject this, but we don't know much about the Vedic culture or all the fine details. I mean, it's developing more and more in ISKCON, and you're a perfect example of this. So, can you share some light on this?
Shed some light. See, the Vedic starts from the principle and works out. It starts from the most simple thing that anybody can understand and is the most applicable at all times, all places, all circumstances. Right? Just like it's interesting to note in the Lilamrita that when Prabhupada got to San Francisco, right, after he established New York, then the next place was, I think Mukunda went out to the West Coast and established San Francisco. When he got there, there's these long-haired, funky West Coast dirty hippies, right? Like that. And what did they know when he got out there? I am not this body, I am a servant of God, right? That developing love for God is the ultimate goal, and the process of getting there is by chanting Hare Krishna. Right? So, without knowing it, that is the essence. Everything in our philosophy goes back to these 3 points. That's the Sambandha, Avideya, and Prayojana. Right? Sambandha, my relationship with God, the material energy is to be engaged in His service. So you have God, the living entity in the material world. Prabhupada says that's Sambandha Jnana. Right? The goal, Krishna satisfaction, love for Krishna. And the process, bhakti. And of bhakti, specifically chanting the holy name. These are just some hippies. They knew that essence. I don't know if you could say a new bhakta would say that off the top of their head now if you said, what's our philosophy? But these are guys, right out of their mouth comes that. That meant essence was being given. Everyone was working on essence in those days. They didn't know it, but that didn't mean that that wasn't what was going on. Right? And you start from there. You start from the dress. You start from the food. You start from the cleanliness. You start little things like you sleep with your head to the east. The little what wasn't touched in our life, even though it was very simple. Our eating, our sleeping, our mating, our defending was defined. Prabhupada tells, the wife gets, goes off the altar. 6 days from that, you can start for having children. It's right there. He's telling. So many things are told. He even tells how often you can have a kid. Right? The kid is conceived. Give that kid 6 months at least without any other disturbance. Then you can try for another kid. So that gives you what? Every 16 months, then you can try. How much detail is needed? Where is that? Where is the cooking that Prabhupada gave? Right? Where is the dress? Where is all these things, right? I mean, our academics will say, oh, it's introduced by the Muslims, or it's just an Indian thing. India's a country, America's a country, so they're equal. Right? Strange, but somehow India is a reflection of the spiritual world. Krishna does wear a dhoti. And I don't care what academic accepts that or not, Prabhupada says so. And our acharyas say so. So we're being compromised by faithless people. Right? They get their little degrees, and then they can throw around their atheism. And somehow other people listen. But we have been given everything to start with. Where is that? Prabhupada trained people. Where is that? Right? Are temples inviting, like Jamuna Devi, to come and show them how to cook? Or other people that Prabhupada trained in things, in management? Down to the finest detail, Prabhupada would train people. Tamal Krishnamars, Bhavananda, so many others. right? The lifestyle, all these different things. So there is no vacuum. It was immediately replaced. But it was the basis. Prabhupada said, this is the structure. Now fill it out. Now you can get into finer points of cleanliness and into this and into that. Refine the cooking, refine the dress, refine the culture. Right before, Prabhupada had all the drama and all those different things like that. Now it's just individuals do here and there. Before, every temple would do dramas on Sunday, and it was a natural part by going to players. So he introduced the art. Right? He would, you could read the old things. So he said, okay, they were sitting there, I think, waiting to do some kind of program on the air, I think in Amsterdam. And Prabhupada's, they're sitting there, so, let's do kirtan. So Prabhupada says, okay, what time is it? So which raga we should sing? Right? Prabhupada in those days had given them the ragas for the times of the day. Anyone knows that? So that's the point. It's not a matter, it's not here, it can't be done. It's people don't want to do it. They want to live the lifestyle they grew up with their mommy. And that's it. And they're attached, and they're going to fight for it. So if you want Varnashram, be ready for a fight. And be ready that you're going to be fighting a lot of senior devotees. Because if you establish Varnashram, it means they got to live it. Right now, they can go into their bathroom, do whatever they like, and walk out of there with their shoes on, in their house, and never clean themselves properly, like Prabhupada showed them. I remember you walk into the temple, first thing, hands, mouth, and feet. Everybody knew that. Right? And you didn't have proper facility, right? You had to do this special balancing act to wash your feet in the sink without touching the tap or the sink. Right? Then when we build temples, we could actually build a temple where you can wash your feet properly. But do we do it? No, we still get out the magic plastic shoes. London, the manor built its own bathrooms. They're not designed for devotees. They're not designed for puja. And they claim to have a very high level of puja. Technically, it looks fabulous. As far as cleanliness goes, it stinks. Right? The principles that Prabhupada taught is by touch it goes. Nobody knows this. So the point is it's all there. But people don't want to follow it. And they really don't want you to follow it. Does that make sense? Right? So if you want to talk conspiracy theory, try this one. Is that okay? So everything's there. You start from there. Expand from there. Right? The point is if you're simple, you only need simple. You're sophisticated, then you need to be more sophisticated. But we've had 30 years to develop some sophistication. You understand? And the main thing is not the form. It's the point behind it. How can you go into a bathroom and walk out without cleaning yourself properly? How can you live with yourself?
Excuse me, Maharaj, but we were just having a round table to present each one. So maybe we can go on with the round table and establish the program for the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it's okay. Well, I have to leave in 2 minutes anyway, so that will... But the point is we're just trying to give a very clear idea, because my point is that you establish the form of Varnashram, it won't be Varnashram until you establish the mood behind why the form is there, right? That's the point. I say a pelican has a big beak because of its mentality. That's why the beak matches the mentality. So therefore, the Varnashram matches the mentality behind it. Right? You don't have the mentality, even you do the form, it won't work nicely. And therefore, then devotees reject it. Because devotees will say, we tried Varnashram. I say, no one ever tried Varnashram because they didn't know what Varnashram was. Because if they try it, it always works. Okay. And so with that, we have to go in. So we've done our part for the global warming here. So then, like I said, we beg forgiveness if there's been anything said that was too rough or blunt, but it's just for my own thing. I've been going to Varnashram meetings and programs for over 20 years. And all these things I've been talking about you is what I've been hearing for 20 years. Right? And the last ones that I was at, the committee, after a long while debating whether Varna ashram was actually viable, but the Mormons got something, Amish also got something pretty cool, and like that. Then the committee was renamed from the Varna ashram into the Social and Economic Development Committee. That's how much faith there is in devotees in our own culture. So we just wanted to make it very clear on what works is you start from the inside, you start from the seed, then you grow the banyan tree. But they say, well, unless it's a banyan tree, it's not Varnashram. Like that. Point is, a Brahman's a Brahman. If you study Shastra, he teaches Shastra, he's a Brahman. No matter anything else, then you do according to time, place, and circumstance. Kshatriya protects, he is a Kshatriya. Vaishya makes money and distributes that, he is a Vaishya. Shudra assists the others, he is a Shudra. That can be done anywhere, any place, any time. There's no restriction. No Kali Yuga, no modern culture, no nothing. That always works. That is what Manu says is the essence. Like that. Then you expand from there. That was the principle we were talking. Prabhupada gave us the simple, expand. So here, Varnashram is these four here, expand. And the ashrams, they have their simple